Afternoon, Wyatt. Morgan. What can I do for you fellas?
We just wanted to stop by and congratulate you on winning the election, Sheriff.
Okay.
We just want to make sure things are square between us.
There was a lot of hurtful things said during the election, on both sides.
I don't like you, Wyatt. Or Morgan either.
What'd I ever do to you?
And your brother Virgil? I don't care much for him either. Except he's a good lawman. And I guess that I can respect.
All I'm saying is let's put this bad blood behind us.
Everything okay here?
Just talking to the sheriff, trying to let bygones be bygones.
How's that going?
Not great.
Not trying to run you and Morgan off, but we got to do some lawman talk with the sheriff here.
We'll talk later, Behan.
I expect so. Have a seat, gentlemen.
You give any thought to who the undersheriff's gonna be?
Haven't paid it that much thought yet.
Does that undersheriff receive part of that commission money that you received from the town?
That's a lot of damn money, Johnny.
Now you know that was going on a long time before I got here. Is that what you came to talk about?
Ike Clanton and his boys may be on the verge of starting an international incident with that raid south of here.
You mean over the pass?
3 Mexican Army regulars got killed.
What was the Mexican army doing there?
The Mexican ranchers got smart.
They hired the best security they could find.
Well, how do you know Ike was involved?
John, you know, Ike and the boys been rustling cattle down there for years in that pass.
But how do you specifically know that Ike Clanton was involved in it?
Sheriff, Ike Clanton will sometimes listen to you when he'll listen to no one else.
Johnny, this thing blows up on us. Nobody's gonna come out of this good.
The next time I see Ike, I'll be happy to bring it up with him if you think it'll help.
I will surely appreciate it.
So, Williams, have you given any thought to what we talked about?
I did. I can't do this. I'm out. It ain't my game.
What now?
I got a wife and 2 boys at home, and they're counting on me.
Bullshit! You pick up that sash and put it on right now.
I can't, and you're drawing an audience.
Now, you listen to me and you listen good. You know too much about our operation.
Now, I'm
You've been
not
a
gonna
part of
say
this
nothing,
for too
Johnny.
long. You listen to me. Once a cowboy, always a cowboy.
Johnny,
Now you pick up that sash and you put it on. You have a drink with me and we close this right now.
Johnny, I quit. I am going home.
The hell you are!
Stand down, Johnny Ringo.
Look what slithered into town. Doc Holliday.
Now you know you're not supposed to have those weapons in here.
Well, hell, you got yours, Doc.
Well, come on now. This is just a disagreement between 2 cowboys. It's no concern of yours.
You shot a man in cold blood. You crossed the line, Johnny.
I say we let cooler heads prevail. Let the sheriff decide what to do with this son of a bitch.
Are you kidding me, Doc? Sheriff's useless.
You can stop pointing that gun at me, Holliday. I'm disarmed now. Clara, have you been listening in to our conversations?
It seems you caught yourself a break here, Johnny. But I advise you to leave the lady alone, or I'll blow a hole in you the size of Texas. Are you all right, Clara?
I'm fine. I noticed you stayed pretty calm, Doc.
Well, I tend not to get involved in the petty grievances of others. After all, I am a model citizen.
Want another beer, Morgan?
No, I'm good right now. I got to head out in just a minute anyway.
I heard you got a position with a good company.
At the stage.
What you doing with them?
Riding shotgun.
I imagine that can be kind of dangerous, can it?
I got some experience with it up in Colorado.
You should be all right then.
Hey, Ben. Who's that fellow over there against the wall?
Name is Billy Claiborne.
Yeah, I noticed the red sash.
Been with the Cowboys for a good while.
Then why ain't he up at my brother's place?
He's taken a liking to my daughter, Elena. But she doesn't want anything to do with his type.
Pa, why didn't you wake me up?
I'll be needing your help more this evening. Elena, this is Morgan Earp.
The competition?
No, my brothers run that place. I ain't in it with them. I'll see you later, Ben.
Goodbye, Morgan.
Ma'am?
Let me know how it goes on the stage.
What do I gotta do to get some service around here?
What can I do for you, Billy?
Whiskey, if you don't mind.
Here's regular.
I'll be right here.
Why don't you have a seat?
I'm kind of busy.
I'm the only one here.
What did you want to talk about, Billy?
Have you thought about my offer?
No, I didn't. No reason to.
That's a lot of money.
Billy, I done told you this ain't a brothel. I serve drinks here, and that's it.
Well, then what you need? Nice clothes, maybe?
Is this some kind of courting maneuver? It ain't working, Billy. Let me tell you something. I don't want to be associated with the people you are associated with.
I'm gonna keep asking.
Well, I guess you're gonna do what you want. But my pa and I are gonna be busy later, and I need to go help him get ready.
You've been around a while, Mr. Holiday. How long do you think you're going to be in town?
Why, I don't know just yet.
Also noticed you're alone a lot.
Well, I prefer to be alone.
If that mood changes, will you let me know who might require my services?
Well, thank you, Teresa. But I do fancy myself a Southern gentleman, and, as a Southern gentleman, it would be out of character to, pay for the attention of a lovely lady as yourself.
He has himself a lady friend, Teresa.
Well, that's okay. I never see her around.
Well, she has, taken a bed rest. I do believe all this traveling has made her feel a little under the weather.
And how about yourself? I've heard about your condition.
It comes and goes, just like everything else.
If you don't mind me saying so, Doc, you need to lay your head down next to your lady friend more often. I see you here day and night.
Here, you never know when opportunity is going to pop in and say hello. And as for the other, when I'm too much in the horizontal position, feels like I'm drowning. That would be the condition you spoke of.
Pa, I'm tired. If you don't mind, I'm gonna go to bed.
That's fine, Elena. I'll handle things.
Long night, huh?
Yeah, but tips were good. Can't complain.
Yeah, I worked a few of these little boom towns. Money's usually floating around.
You mean up in Colorado?
Mm-hmm. Mostly around silver mining. Not usually big as Tombstone.
Bet you they're not as crazy either.
You got that right.
Well, Mr. Earp, I've been on my feet for 10 hours. I'm going to bed.
What can I do for you, Billy?
Whiskey.
Sure thing.
Good evening, Mr. Earp. Looks like you and Elena get along pretty good.
Just talking. I ain't looking for no more attachments than I already have.
You trying to make time with my lady, mister?
No. But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't think she's your lady.
And why would you say that?
Pretty good at reading people. Kinda helps with my line of work.
I don't care what your job is, and I don't care who you are.
Everything all right here, gentlemen? Last call. Can I get one more for either of you?
Hear that? Is your last call.
No thanks, Ben. Think I'll pay a visit to my brothers.
Listen good. You know who I am, and you know who I ride with. Stay away from Elena, 'cause you're headed for trouble you don't want.
So, Mr. Holliday, I thought you might not be around here so much, with Johnny Ringo such a frequent visitor.
Johnny Ringo and I are staying out of each other's way.
So then why do you like that position nestled against the wall like that? I've noticed that you favor it.
Two very simple reasons, Clara. First, it's next to the bar, and it's one of my very favorite places to be.
I've noticed.
Plus, this spot allows me to watch everyone and narrow in on someone just dumb enough to challenge me to a game of cards. And as much as Johnny Ringo and I are staying out of each other's way, I do like to keep an eye on him.
You gonna take care of the bill for this?
Yeah.
You gonna take care of the bill for all the cowboys?
Yeah, all of it. Stick with me, Billy. Got big plans for the Cowboys.
Bigger jobs? More money, I'm hoping?
All in good time. How we doing on recruiting?
Well, there's different men coming in and out of town all the time.
Yeah, they're coming in for the silver mine. We gotta catch them after they've been down in those hell holes. Give me 2.
Johnny? They just quit and leave town.
Yeah, but there's a time we could grab them. We're always needing new blood. So, Billy, I understand you've been spending a lot of time over at Cullen's Saloon, which is kind of odd considering they don't do no whoring over there.
Yeah. There's a pretty little lass over there. I've been keeping my eye on her.
Mm-hmm. You looking to make that more permanent?
I like it to be. But there's one problem. There's more than one eye on her.
Yeah, well, listen. Now, women are good to play with, but you don't want to go getting serious with one of them.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, what's wrong with it is they always interfere with your business. When they interfere with your business, they're interfering with my business. I can't put up with that. I got 2 pair, queens and kings, ace high.
Okay, Johnny. Full house.
So this Johnny Ringo fella, he fancies himself being the leader of the Cowboys?
Yeah, he does.
How long you think before I become a leader?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't be talking like that around Johnny.
Why not?
He only made it so far because so many people died.
Whoa. He killed all of them?
Not that I know of. Well, maybe 1 or 2.
How them others die?
Well, doing what we do. You gotta handle yourself out here.
Well, I'm a tough hombre, alright.
Yeah. We'll find out. You gotta be loyal to the Cowboys too now.
You can ask anyone I know. I'm loyal.
If anybody's a cowboy, you gotta back 'em up, right or wrong.
Alright. I reckon I can do that.
We'll find out.
Where you headed, Fred?
Well, I figure it's about time to go out and earn my pay. Been doing nothing but paperwork for the last couple of days.
Well, doing paperwork's part of the job.
Johnny, you're the sheriff of Cochise County. My territory is this little town right here. I got to be out and about so people can see me.
Well, I hear there's a bunch of cowboys in town today. There's bound to be trouble.
Wouldn't be Tombstone if it wasn't trouble, would it?
That's the truth. This place thrives on it.
That's why they call it a boomtown.
What was her name? I don't remember.
All right, fellas. Y'all ain't supposed to be at the church. Y'all ain't supposed to have them guns. Y'all know better.
No harm done.
Y'all heading home or heading to the saloons?
We're headed to the saloon.
Might don't make it there in my condition.
Well, y'all best check them guns in. You can pick 'em up on the way out of town.
But we like our guns, Marshal.
Yeah, I know. You can give me the guns, or I'll put you and the guns in jail.
What now? You ain't serious.
I'm dead serious. You ain't gonna like it.
I bet I know what you wouldn't like.
What's that?
I bet you wouldn't like it if we just shot you to pieces right now.
That ain't funny, fellas.
You broke the rules, Marshal. You don't tell cowboys what to do.
What now? Fred.
Y'all know what I hate more than anything?
Holiday?
You do know. Well, I guess I don't keep it much of a secret, do I? Tom, you and your brother's been riding with us for a while. You like it so far?
I must say I do, sir.
Call me Johnny. And I think I know what you like riding with the cowboys. People get out of your way, give you a little bit of respect while you're walking down the street. Right?
I must say that I like that.
Looks like the cowboys are recruiting again. Ringo's taking them younger and younger.
So Johnny Ringo fancies himself as the ringleader now.
He has for a while, since he got out of prison.
They're pulling in money from somewhere. I'm seeing a piece of it.
Well, congratulations, Teresa. How them cowboys treating you?
All right. I'll take any of them but that damn Ike Clanton. He's a mean-ass son of a bitch.
He ain't allowed in here anymore.
So we need to show the Earps and Holiday who's boss around here.
How do we do that?
Riding with Billy, I'm gonna guess you got better with your pistol?
Better than I was.
Well, can you be counted on, you and your brother?
Yes, sir.
I told you don't call me sir. Call me sir again and I'll kill you.
He means it. Why are you so quiet, Tom?
I don't know. I just been hearing things.
What you been hearing?
Like the Cowboys getting ready to start a war with the Earps.
Yeah. You heard that from Johnny and Ringo?
No. Couple other of the Cowboys. What do you think?
About what?
Johnny Ringo asked us, should we fight the Earps?
If you ask, you gotta.
Billy, I thought you said he wasn't going to ask us to be in this fight.
Well, he asked, didn't he? You gotta do it, Tom.
Billy, I don't know about this. We're going to have to talk to Frank.
You and me's gonna talk to Frank together. Okay?
Yeah, I guess.
Stay strong, Tom. Can we get a drink over here?
Your little friend here looks concerned.
Got a lot on my mind.
Well, what can I get you to?
Give us each a whiskey.
I don't want nothing.
Give us each a whiskey.
All right.
Afternoon, Ike.
Sheriff?
Fellas, I've been out and about this morning, and a little birdie told me that y'all expecting to fight the Earps down here at the corral this afternoon.
Y'all know anything about that?
Nah, I ain't heard nothing.
Sounds like you've been talking to the wrong people, Sheriff.
Okay, but all I can tell you is I need your guns to take 'em up to the jail as long as you're here and pick 'em up on the way out of town.
Come on, Johnny. We got an arrangement.
Damn it, I can't afford to have a full-out war. We've got to have some kind of law and order around here. In the bag. You too, Ike.
You lucky I don't put it in your ass.
Appreciate your cooperation, fellas.
What you gonna do?
Where'd y'all stash the other guns?
Over there behind the photography building.
We still gonna fight?
Hell yeah, we still gonna fight.
As soon as the sheriff's out of sight, we head over.
Virgil, why? Y'all don't have to do this. I've already disarmed Ike and the rest of the Cowboys.
You disarmed them? I'm the marshal here, Johnny. Should be me doing that.
I'm not going to argue the whys and the wherefores, but I did disarm them.
How do we know you're telling the truth?
Because I just put the guns in the jail, Morgan. Don't disrespect me, boy.
How about you don't call me boy?
All right, all right. We don't need this now. What's your thinking on this, Wyatt?
We'll be seeing you around, Johnny.
If things go bad, Virgil, I'm gonna tell the judge everything.
You do that.
Why don't we head over to the corral and wait on him there?
I like it here. Corral's too open.
Is that the church where they gunned down that other marshal?
Yes, it is.
I'm thinking this ain't a good idea.
Is he in or out, Billy?
He's in.
Shut up.
Well, look who's not here.
They're around somewhere. Keep an eye out.
Across the way, photography studio.
Good eye, Verge.
Don't you forget it.
They're coming.
Make sure you load it up. Stay close.
I thought they were disarmed.
Guess they found more guns.
Need you to turn in those pistols too, fellas. We can work this out.
We can work this out.
Stand down. This ain't the way it's gotta be.
Yeah, Morgan.
Where you going, Billy?
Johnny, you put the papers together for me?
Papers on what?
I want you charged to Herbst and Holiday with murder.
Sheriff, you and I have been on good speaking terms here lately, but I got a problem.
What do you mean, Judge?
There's a problem behind me here. That's just plain stupid.
That sounds like a harsh piece of self-criticism, Judge, considering the fact you signed the warrants on all these men.
Well, I had to sign them to keep Ike happy for a while so I could think of what to do.
So, did you figure it out?
If you fellows are released on your own recognizance, you'll make court appearances, won't you?
We cooperated fully with the sheriff when he showed us those warrants.
We don't want no trouble, Judge.
I'm hiring an outside investigating team to figure this thing out. These are people that neither side are familiar with. In 30 days, I'll make a decision on these charges. Now, between now and then, I don't want one iota of trouble from you boys. You understand?
We understand, sir.
What about the fourth warrant, Holiday?
Couldn't find him to serve the papers.
Probably sleeping off or drunk. We'll tell him the deal.
I'm going to hold you to that. Let him go, Sheriff.
So you're rescinding all 4 of these warrants?
Judge, what about reinstating my marshal position?
That's the town council that pulled that on you. You'll have to talk to them about that. Johnny, let these boys go.
You and Ike are damn lucky to make it out of that fight still breathing.
Yeah, but we lost Ike's brother.
Don't matter. He's replaceable.
It happens so fast, Johnny. Them Earp brothers, they hit us hard.
You did fight back, right?
Me and Ike got a couple off. Then we hightailed it.
Like I told you, that was a terrible place to make a stand.
What you hear about the other side?
They all got hit except Wyatt. Y'all done good.
So, what are we going to do about the Earps?
No more standoffs. I got plans for them.
What do you mean?
Strike and run. At night, guerrilla style.
Okay. You think I can help get rid of that Morgan?
Why, sure. Like I said, I got plans.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. As you well know, this is my investigative team. Margaret Whitfield here is an investigative reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
You're a long way from home.
I like to travel.
Standing next to her is Mason. He's a Pinkerton detective.
Really? Yeah.
I didn't know they hired
half-breeds? Well, I think I'm the first.
What do they hope to gain by working with you?
Well, some places I can dig deeper than other folks.
Okay. I don't even know what that means.
I wouldn't worry about it, Wyatt. The important thing is these people have no connection to this area at all. I told you this would be a 30-day assignment, didn't I?
Close enough. We'll spend the first 3 weeks interviewing anyone who may be of interest to the investigation. We would appreciate some leads on who those people might be. Once we've completed our interviews, we'll spend a few days analyzing our findings and then present our final report to Judge Wallace here.
When I get that report, I will immediately call another meeting like this one. Wyatt, where's Holiday? He most definitely needs to be at the next meeting.
We'll make sure, Judge.
Well, I want to thank you for moving the interview here as opposed to having it over at the newspaper office. We are constantly being watched. In fact, I walked into the office one day last week and found a bullet hole in the front window.
Sounds like someone's trying to scare you.
Nothing unusual in this town. Ma'am, I understand you're with the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Yes, I've been an investigative reporter with the Inquirer for 10 years.
Well, we are indeed honored to have you in our town. The Philadelphia Inquirer is a very well-respected institution.
Thank you. I certainly hope I can live up to your expectations.
I would like to know more about your publication, The Epitaph. It's quite a distinctive name for a newspaper, if maybe a little...
Morose? Many people feel that way, but you certainly don't forget the name. After all, no tombstone is complete without its epitaph.
May I quote you on that?
Oh, you certainly may.
Now, I have read several articles of The Epitaph, as well as some of those from your competitor.
Yes, The Nugget. That's published by Harry Wood.
Yes. He refused to grant me an interview. Thank you for doing so.
I have nothing to hide.
Now, in reading the articles in the two papers, I noticed two very different and obvious political leanings.
Absolutely. The Epitaph supports law and order in Tombstone, and therefore, we support the lawmen.
Namely the Earps.
Well, for the moment, yes. The Nugget, though, on the other hand, supports the interests of the cattlemen and the ranchers.
The two political leanings are quite obvious, not just in the editorials, but in the articles themselves.
The people like it that way.
I see. You know that is not standard journalism. At the Inquirer, we do pride ourselves on being as objective as possible in reporting our news.
Well, there's no way that we could do that around here. Now, in September, I organized a group that I call the Committee for Safety for Tombstone. Law and order is the responsibility of every able-bodied citizen.
So can you recommend some able-bodied citizens who would be willing to talk to me?
Oh, yes, I certainly can. But there is one, no doubt, Addie Burleson. She is not going to give you an interview.
I haven't heard that name before. Why would she not want to talk to me?
Well, Miss Addie is a business person. She's a dressmaker, and she's very well known. Her house is across Fremont from where the gunfight occurred.
Did she see anything?
She was at the window of her house and looked out and saw the two lines forming up. Now, she told me that she did not see any hands go up, as the Cowboys are asserting. But when that first shot rang out, she ran from the window.
That was wise of her. Now, are there any people who saw the gunfight who would be willing to grant me an interview?
There's this engineer. This engineer came into town, Mr. Sill. Mr. Sill saw everything from Fremont.
Is he still in town?
Yes, he is. He arrived on the day of the gunfight. Now, can you imagine this? Walk into a new town for the first time, and then you're confronted by this.
If that's the case, he most likely was not familiar with anyone in that gunfight.
Oh, when he got to Tombstone, he didn't know anybody.
Thank you for talking with me today, Mr. Hills.
My pleasure, ma'am. And I just want to say that I owe no allegiance to anyone in Tombstone.
That is quite obvious from your frankness in our discussion.
I just hope what I had to say offers some help.
I believe it will. My next step will be to compare notes with my partner in this investigation.
And then I take it you'll be leaving our fair little town?
I probably will, unless I'm needed for anything else.
Your main employer is the Philadelphia Inquirer, am I correct?
That is correct.
So I suppose there's a big difference between living up there in the big cities and these little towns out here.
I was raised in a small town, but I've traveled quite a lot, and I've grown accustomed to life in the big city. But I must say, Tombstone is quite interesting. For a town like this, the level of mischief rivals anything, anywhere I've seen.
Well, I'm from New Jersey myself, right across the river. I suppose you could tell a little bit by my accent.
Just a bit.
And I make it a point not to involve myself in any of the politics or dramatics of any town I'm stationed in.
That is a good idea. Of all the people I spoke to, you were the only one who was neutral in these matters.
So I take it you'd prefer if I kept any talk of our interview to myself.
That would also be a good idea. Now, it could be dangerous for you if some groups or maybe even a few individuals knew that you actually provided honest testimony about what you saw.
I appreciate your clarity, ma'am.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to talk to me, Sheriff.
No problem. I hope I can help.
So do I. I understand you were one of the first to see what happened at that gunfight.
Yeah, I was the first lawman there. I got there about 10 after 3.
And what did you see?
Well, Tom and Frank McLowry and Ike's brother Billy was laying dead in the ground. From what I understand, Ike Clanton and Billy Claiborne took off right after the shooting started.
What about the Earp brothers and Holiday?
They were already gone. I found out later that White had taken Morgan and Virgil to the doctor's office. They said Holiday come strolling in a few minutes after that.
And what did you do when you first arrived?
First, I identified the men that were dead, and I tried to see where they were hid at. About 5 minutes later, Wyatt showed up and acted like he owned the place.
And what did he tell you?
He said him and his brothers and Holiday started shooting about the same time as the other group.
Was Wyatt Earp injured at all?
No, miraculously.
Sounds like you don't care for the man.
Well, he ran against me for sheriff here.
But you won.
But he slandered my name from here to the other side of the county.
Really? And how so?
Run around telling everybody I was in cahoots with the Cowboys.
Do you mean cowboys as in local ranch hands or the gang?
No, the Cowboys are a group of men that identify themselves by wearing red sashes.
I have heard of them. They have a reputation here for cattle rustling and general lawlessness.
That sounds like the Earps talking.
So how do you see them?
They've helped a lot of the small ranchers out in the county keep away the bad elements.
I see. And so these men shooting against the Earps and Holiday, were they cowboys?
They were.
Sheriff, you know this investigation is just beginning. Would you mind if I stop by in a few more days to ask more questions if necessary?
No problem, ma'am. I hope I can help.
Thank you.
Damn, Joe. You gonna stare at Morgan all night?
I'm sorry, Morgan. Am I making you uncomfortable?
Maybe a bit, Joe. Did you want to ask me something?
Yeah. Did it hurt?
Hell yes, it hurt. I got shot.
So does it still hurt?
Yes, Joe. It still hurts.
Where did the bullet hit you exactly?
Well, Doc says it hit my shoulder blade, turned, then took a piece of my backbone.
Ow.
Yep.
I never met anybody in a real gunfight before.
Well, hallelujah and all that.
Sounds like you got lucky.
I just paid my second visit to Mama McClary. She's all broke up about her boys, especially Tom. That was her baby.
Billy? Morgan? I don't want no trouble in here.
What can I get you, Billy?
Whiskey. Why don't you have a seat over here?
I don't think that would be wise. I'm working.
So, Elena, you'll sit at his table, but not mine?
Are you still beating that dead horse, Billy? There ain't nothing between us. He's married. Her name is Louise. I've met her. She's nice.
Well, it's good he knows not to mess with my girl.
Will you quit with that for once? Don't you go insinuate nothing. That ain't gonna happen, Billy.
How's your hand, Mr. Holliday?
Well, it's coming along.
May I ask you a few questions about the gunfight?
I suppose, though I imagine you've heard it from other sources.
I'd like to investigate all the sources. I was told that the Cowboys raised their hands when the gunfight first started.
Nobody raised their hands, we just started shooting.
What did you see happen in the first few seconds of that gunfight?
I don't know. I was moving.
Was everyone moving?
Well, not Wyatt. He was still as a statue.
Did he get hurt at all?
No, but he took 4 bullet holes in the coat.
So the men shooting at you, were they all cowboys?
Well, they appeared to be.
I understand you were familiar with the leader of the Cowboys, Johnny Ringo.
Did Wyatt tell you that?
He did not.
Have you talked to Wyatt?
Mr. Holliday, I would like to know your perception of the gunfight.
I'm in the middle of a game right now, and I need to get back to it. So, if you'll excuse me, ma'am. Good day.
Miss Whitfield.
I don't think Doc wants to talk about the gunfight.
Apparently not.
Teresa and I can tell you what we know and what we've heard around here, but not now. We gotta wait till the place is empty, when there's no one else around.
You tell me when. I'll be here. So this Johnny Ringo is the leader of the Cowboys?
Seems to be. He approves all the new recruits.
He and Doc Holliday know each other from a piece back, since before Johnny went to prison.
When did Johnny get out?
Not that long ago.
What kind of man is he?
Mean. And when he's drunk, which is a lot of the time, he's a mean drunk.
And what about the rest of the Cowboys?
Some are just kids. Some are rough. Real rough. They're all in cahoots with the ranchers and the cattlemen out in the county.
Cahoots?
The Cowboys are cattle rustlers.
They steal livestock from out in the county and sell it to the ranchers here. The ranchers turn around and sell the cattle quick. Everyone makes a comfortable profit.
How long has this been going on?
Years.
Why doesn't the sheriff put a stop to it?
Behan? He ain't no kind of sheriff.
No matter how rough the Cowboys get, Sheriff Behan just looks the other way. He gets paid by his job, he gets paid by the Cowboys, and he gets paid by the ranchers.
Sounds like there's a lot of money involved.
Compare it like this. Virgil Earp, who's been a marshal here off and on, gets paid $100 a month. I understand Sheriff Behan sees $3,000 a month, maybe more.
He don't answer to no one.
So why do they hate Holiday and the Earps?
On account of they stood up to the Cowboys.
Cowboys don't run this saloon, but we can't turn them away.
They got their claws into so many things around this town.
And not just out in the county. On the day after the gunfight, the bodies of those cowboys were put on display in the window of the undertakers. There was a sign that was put up that read, "Murdered in the streets of Tombstone."
What's this place?
The McClory Ranch.
2 of them boys got killed in that gunfight were McClory's.
Yes, Tom and Frank. Their mother, Mama McClory, is the one I want to interview.
Think I should stay out here for security?
That's a good idea. A woman will talk more openly to another woman.
Can't argue with that.
Just for the record, ma'am, I know the people around here call you Mama McClory, but I'm sure you do have a first name.
course I do. It's Angelica.
That's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
I'd like to begin by offering my condolences on the death of your two sons, Tom and Frank.
Miss Whitfield, why did you never marry and have children?
I could not be a reporter and a wife.
Well then, let me tell you something. Until you've lost a child of your own, you don't know how deep sadness can run. I love both my boys. I truly did. But Thomas, he was my baby. You understand? He was a beautiful baby. He was a gift sent straight from heaven.
Again, ma'am, I am very sorry for your loss.
Pardon me for being so forthright, Miss Whitfield, but who exactly do you work for?
I'm a reporter with the Philadelphia Inquirer. I was hired by Judge Wallace, along with a Pinkerton investigator, to gather evidence as neutral parties. He needs to determine whether or not the Earps and Doc Holliday should stand trial for their actions in the gunfight.
Well, of course they need to stand trial. A very public trial.
So that is what you would like to see?
Everyone in the county would demand it. Everyone knew they were good boys.
But they were part of a group that often operated outside the law.
You mean the Cowboys?
That's exactly who I mean.
Oh, that's just the town people talking. They have done some good things for the people out here in the county.
I see. Ma'am, did Tom and Frank ever talk to you about that gunfight?
Well, no, not to me. But they wouldn't cook up something like this anyways.
So who do you think might have done it?
I think it was that Johnny Ringo fella.
So you believe Johnny Ringo put your boys up for that fight with the Earps?
I didn't say that, and I ain't saying that. All I'm saying is, my boys weren't the kind to do something like that. They were good boys.
Thank you, ma'am.
The poor lady is in mourning. She lost two sons. Tom was the youngest. He used to talk to her a lot about the Cowboys and Johnny Ringo.
Ringo? I've heard that name before.
I'm learning it, but you're more familiar with these parts than I am. Seems Johnny Ringo fancies himself the leader of these Cowboys.
You think he could have put those boys up to a gunfight with the Earps?
I think that's a possibility.
Anything else?
She said to be careful of Ike Clanton. He's not very fond of women. Seems he's been known for being rough with some of the girls downtown, so much so that he's been banned from several of the sporting houses.
Maybe I should be the one to talk to him. So, Ike, I understand you're a member of the Cowboys.
Well, yeah. It's Red back here won't answer that.
So, what kind of group is this Cowboys?
A brotherhood. We help each other.
Well, being in the group yourself, what do you think is one of the most important characteristics of a cowboy?
Character who?
I'm sorry. What I mean is, what makes a good cowboy?
The main thing you need?
Yeah, the main thing.
Loyalty. You gotta have loyalty.
Okay. So, you mean the kind of loyalty like when someone in your group does wrong, you back them up anyways?
That's what loyalty is.
So, Ike, how well do you remember what happened in the gunfight?
I remember every second.
Alrighty then. So who fired the first shot?
Holliday, that damn shotgun of his.
So he just fired out of the blue?
Well, we were trying to raise our hands to surrender.
Is that a fact?
What's your name again?
Mason.
Okay, Mason. Look who was there.
I know who was there.
What I mean is, look how it stacks up.
Can you explain that?
So Billy and me.
That's Billy Claiborne?
Right. Billy and me, we can handle a gun real good.
So I've heard.
But the other boys and my brother, are you kidding me?
You don't think it started as a fair fight?
How could it be?
I believe you had more guns.
Earps and Holiday, they're seasoned lawmen.
They were certainly experienced as lawmen.
We tried to surrender, but that didn't work.
So you believe you were outgunned?
We turned and ran. They didn't, and that's the truth.
You make a strong case. I'll give you that. You think the Earps and Holiday should go to prison?
No, Mason, I don't. I think they should go to the hangman.
Ma'am, I've been through some right big towns. Philadelphia sounds like a big place.
It is. Towns out here are still pretty new, but back east there's a lot of history and a lot of people. As a reporter, you learn a lot in a very short amount of time.
So what do you think about Tombstone?
It seems the criminal element has a strong foothold in this county.
It does. Makes it tough to put folks in town.
Mr. Earp, I believe you began your law enforcement career in Wichita.
Yep, Dodge City after that. Kansas can be a rough and tumble life.
So why did you leave that occupation?
Money, to be honest. I got tired of putting my life on the line for a little bit of nothing.
I understand. But it seems that Sheriff Behan has found a way to profit from a law enforcement position.
That's because Behan's the tax collector. That's where the money's at.
Yes, he and several others did mention that.
Surprised he mentioned such things to you.
He was not a wealth of information, but definitely worth interviewing.
So, you and that Mason fellow's been talking to a lot of people around town. Guess you was saving me for last.
Yes. I thought it would be wise to obtain several perspectives and then get your point of view in context of what the others told me.
Maybe I should find out what they told you before I say anything.
I am afraid that is not the way it works. But please bear in mind that the stakes for you and your brothers are very high.
You thinking the judge might put us back in jail?
The judge's decision will be based on the combined research from Mason and me. I cannot reveal the contents of our report.
I know you visited Mama McLaury.
Yes. As you know, she lost 2 boys and she is grieving.
You didn't have to go down that way.
Mr. Earp, looking at the balance of experience on both sides of the gunfight, yours was highly favored.
Experience?
Experience with handling guns.
Well, maybe. But I think the most important thing here is who's breaking the law.
By law, you are referring to the county code against the carrying of firearms in public.
That's right.
That seems a minor crime for such a major resolution.
Ma'am, there's experienced gunfighters on the other side as well.
You mean the Clantons and Billy Claiborne?
Right. Particularly Billy Clanton, Ike's brother.
Mr. Earp, were you expecting a gunfight that day?
We were hoping not.
Did you and your brothers ever discuss who might shoot whom if there was a fight?
Well, we knew that if Billy Clanton was there, he'd have to be taken care of first.
Taken care of.
Miss Whitfield, I held off pulling my weapon until I saw him pull his. I believe we fired the first shot at the same time.
What about the McLaury boys?
They should have never been there.
Holiday turned his shotgun on Tom. He didn't have a chance, did he?
Ma'am, Tom and his brothers were shooting at us and Holiday. We were just trying to get out of there alive.
One last question. Did anyone from the other side try to surrender at any point before or during the gunfight?
Absolutely not.
No one?
None.
Where's Holiday? He needs to be here.
Couldn't find him.
Probably sleeping it off in somebody else's room.
Well, you men most likely will see him at some point anyway. Be sure to relay the news to him. Margaret Whitfield and Mason have done an absolutely thorough job. So thorough, in fact, it makes my head spin. Margaret?
Wyatt, Morgan, Virgil. There's a lot of people out in the county who aren't too fond of you boys. On the other hand, a lot of people in town don't care for the Cowboys and wish they weren't here. It has been very difficult to find anyone with any objective viewpoint about this.
There's been a lot of bad blood on both sides for a very long time.
Y'all do know what she means by objective, don't you?
The important thing is, based on their report, there's not enough hard evidence to convict you of anything. The critical issue for me is, who do I think was telling the truth, and who do I know was lying?
According to Ike Clanton and Billy Claiborne, they threw up their hands and surrendered as soon as the first shots were fired. However, according to Dr. Goodfellow, that wound on Billy Clanton's wrist was not at the angle of someone with his hands in the air.
Thank you, Margaret. Gentlemen, the charges against you have been dropped.
Why are we leaving town so quick, Johnny? I was hoping to go see that little lady again.
I told you not to get mixed up with that woman. We ain't got time for that, Billy.
Where are we going?
We're gonna regroup with the Cowboys. I know where.
Wyatt's got the law behind him now, don't he?
Yeah, he's hiding behind that U.S. Marshal badge. But you wanna know something?
What?
U.S. Marshals bleed just like the rest of us. And I'm gonna make him bleed.
Ben, I'm telling you, working that mine's gonna drive me plumb crazy.
I understand. Ain't the kind of work I could do.
Most of the men down there aren't from around here. They're Mexicans and Chinese men.
They don't speak English, I imagine.
No, not really. That's why I talk to myself all day.
Is that a fact?
Oh, hey, brother. What brings you here?
To what do I owe the pleasure, Wyatt?
Cowboy's been around my place all day making threats. You see anything, Morgan?
No. Looks peaceful. Who are they making threats against?
Morgan!
Morgan!
Get away from the windows!
I'm going to get the doctor.
Elena, get something to help wrap this up. You two apply pressure to the wound as best you can. I'll be right back.
Morgan, look at me. Look at me. Your brother will be right back, and my father went to get the doctor. Stay with us. Stay with us.
Hold on now.
Stay with us. All right? It ain't looking good, Mr.
I heard you were going to Colorado. When were you going to let me know?
I'm going to see Doc at the hospital. He's not doing so good.
I suppose that has nothing to do with the fact that Johnny Ringo and Claiborne have been spotted there.
Come with me if you want.
Wyatt, you know I'm the only marshal in this town with any experience at all. I can't do that.
And I'll see you when I get back.
Hoe. Got a hoe. Take the reins.
What now, Johnny?
Stop for a minute.
Come on, Johnny, we gotta go. We need to make Pueblo by night.
Just a few more minutes. Give me a minute.
Johnny, it's that damn cheap-ass whiskey. I'm tired of riding with you, Johnny.
I don't want to hear any more of your mouth.
Good, Billy. You got anything you want to say before you leave?
I killed Morgan.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Rotten hell, you son of a bitch.
Back to being a lawhound, I see, Wyatt.
People tell me I'm good at it.
I'm guessing you took care of Billy.
Yeah, I did.
You ain't taking me alive, Wyatt.
That'd be fine.